Antarctica, Earth's southernmost continent, is a vast polar desert home to the geographic South Pole. It spans 14.2 million km2, making it the fifth largest continent. Dominated by a thick ice sheet, it holds 70% of the world's freshwater, which could raise sea levels by 60 meters if melted. Known for its extreme cold, dryness, and wind, it has the planet's highest average elevation. Despite its harsh conditions, it hosts unique wildlife like penguins and seals. First sighted in 1820, it's now governed by the Antarctic Treaty System, prohibiting military activity and mining. Human activities are limited to research, tourism, and fishing, with climate change posing significant threats. Who owns Antarctica? Antarctica belongs to no single country. It is governed by a coalition of nations under the Antarctic Treaty, signed on December 1, 1959. This treaty designates the continent for peaceful and scientific purposes only. Now joined by 54 nations, the treaty stands as a remarkable example of international cooperation and diplomacy. This unique agreement ensures Antarctica remains a shared space for all humanity, dedicated to research and preserving its pristine environment. What sparked the creation of the Antarctic Treaty? On December 1, 1959, 12 nations— Argentina, Australia, Belgium, Chile, France, the United Kingdom, Japan, New Zealand, Norway, South Africa, the USA, and the USSR came together in Washington to sign the groundbreaking Antarctic Treaty. In the midst of the Cold War, a period of significant global unrest, the question of Antarctica's ownership had sparked international disputes for years. Countries that claimed Antarctica. Shortly after humans first sighted Antarctica in 1820, nations started staking claims to various parts of the continent. By 1959, 7 nations— Argentina, Australia, Chile, France, New Zealand, Norway, and the United Kingdom— had drawn boundaries around their proposed territories, dividing Antarctica like a pie chart. Although no country owns Antarctica, Australia holds the largest claim, covering 42% of the continent, which is about 6 million square kilometers. Each nation had different reasons for their claims, such as early exploration efforts, continuous presence, geographical proximity, or geological connections. These unilateral claims led to significant tension, as many countries, including the USA and USSR, refused to recognize them. Overlapping claims by Argentina, Chile, and Great Britain on the Antarctic Peninsula further fueled disputes. What does the Antarctic Treaty aim to achieve? The Antarctic Treaty aims to foster international scientific cooperation, mitigate territorial disputes, and prohibit military activities, dedicating the continent to peace and research. It promotes a culture of trust and transparency, allowing nations to inspect any research station at any time. The treaty freezes territorial claims, preventing any nation from strengthening or making new claims while it is in force. Over time, the treaty has evolved to include environmental protection agreements such as the Convention on the Conservation of Antarctic Seals (CCAS), the Environmental Protocol to the Antarctic Treaty Madrid Protocol, and the Convention on the Conservation of Antarctic Marine Living Resources. Who oversees Antarctica? Antarctica is governed by an international coalition of 54 nations under the Antarctic Treaty. These nations are categorized into 2 groups. The first group, known as consultative parties, includes 29 countries that actively conduct scientific research in Antarctica. This engagement grants them the right to participate in Antarctic Treaty consultative meetings (ATCMs) and partake in the consensus-based decision-making process. The second group, called non-consultative parties, consists of 25 countries that have signed the Antarctic Treaty but do not have active research programs in the region. Although they can attend ATCMs and participate in discussions, they do not possess decision-making powers. How is Antarctica governed? Antarctic Treaty nations convene annually at Antarctic Treaty consultative meetings (ATCMs) to discuss and manage human activities in Antarctica. Initially, from 1961 to 1994, these meetings occurred biennially, but they have been held every year since 1994. During ATCMs, all member nations participate in discussions, and decisions are made by consensus among the 29 consultative parties, requiring unanimous agreement for any changes. Since 2003, the Antarctic Treaty has had a permanent administrative presence with the Secretariat of the Antarctic Treaty headquartered in Buenos Aires, Argentina. The Secretariat supports the Antarctic Treaty System year-round by providing administrative assistance for the ATCMs, facilitating information exchange among member nations, maintaining meeting records, and publishing the annual ATCM report. Additionally, other international bodies like the International Maritime Organization and the International Whaling Commission contribute to the governance of Antarctica. Why is Antarctica not a country? What defines a country? Some might argue it's having a government, political system, or army. Others might cite sovereignty and a permanent population. Antarctica, however, lacks all of these elements. Legally, it is not a country but a de facto condominium, a political territory where several sovereign states share power equally. Antarctica has a transient population with no permanent citizens or indigenous inhabitants. You can't become an Antarctic citizen or obtain an Antarctic passport. There is no police force, army, or legal system specific to Antarctica. Instead, it is governed by a series of legally binding international agreements. Decisions made at the Antarctic Treaty Consultative Meetings (ATCM) are ratified and legislated by each member nation. This means that while there is no distinct Antarctic legal system, visitors to Antarctica are governed by the laws of their own country. For example, an Australian citizen visiting Antarctica is subject to Australian law, including the measures and resolutions of the Antarctic Treaty System that have been incorporated into Australian legislation. Does Antarctica have a flag? In 2002, a flag was created for Antarctica, featuring a white silhouette of the continent on a pale blue background. This minimalist design symbolizes Antarctica's unique international governance and its apolitical nature. The flag is commonly seen flying over scientific research stations throughout the continent. While this dedicated flag for Antarctica is relatively new, some nations have long flown their own flags over their claimed territories within Antarctica. Antarctica, Earth's southernmost continent, is a vast and icy expanse situated almost entirely south of the Antarctic Circle, surrounded by the Southern Ocean. As the fifth largest continent, covering about 14 million square kilometers, it is approximately 40% larger than Europe. Known for its extreme climate, Antarctica is the coldest, driest, and windiest continent, boasting the highest average elevation of all continents. The Antarctic ice sheet, which covers the majority of the continent, holds about 60% of the world's freshwater. Despite its harsh environment, Antarctica is home to a range of wildlife, including penguins, seals, whales, and various bird species. Vegetation is sparse, consisting mainly of mosses, lichens, and algae. Human activity in Antarctica is primarily focused on scientific research, with numerous countries maintaining research stations for studies in fields like glaciology, astronomy, biology, and climate science. The continent is governed by the Antarctic Treaty System, an international agreement signed by 54 countries that designates Antarctica as a scientific preserve and bans military activity. Environmental concerns, such as climate change and pollution, pose significant challenges, with warming temperatures leading to ice melt and rising sea levels. Despite these issues, Antarctica remains a unique and largely untouched part of the world, essential for scientific research and understanding global climate patterns. Thanks for watching. If you enjoyed this video, please give it a thumbs up and don't forget to subscribe to my channel for more exciting content. Hit the bell icon to stay updated on all my latest videos. See you next time.